Mentioned this at the beginning when we talked about it's for all iCommerce is for all commerce, right? Is that if you think about this, I know the storefront is first and foremost in all of this, but we're going to talk about catering. We're going to talk about promotions in the storefront, like Kelsey just showed us with the widgets. We've talked heavily about third-party integrations, and I mentioned it, Scan and Go and smart carts. There's so much of this that is a digital experience beyond just e-commerce, and that, by the way, again, it augments the in-store shop. And for us, all of this digital experience, digital shopping, commerce, all sits on top of everything we've talked about earlier today: personalization, our marketing automation engine, and our unified customer data layer, right? And again, if you go shop for just an e-commerce site, how disadvantaged will they be without everything we just talked about this morning? So a little bit that we really hang our hat on in terms of e-commerce is our average basket size is over $160. So if you're talking about an in-store walk-in shopper, maybe they're doing a $50 basket. If you're talking about an online marketplace like Instacart, maybe you're up to $90 a basket. If you look at other white label e-commerce systems that would be competitors in this space, they're maybe at 110, 130. So we are really good about driving basket size. Now, I can't guarantee that's for you because some of it is about what type of customer it is. Like a big Y is a more affluent shopper by nature or something like that, right? So I don't want to present it as a guarantee, but this number, I could do a query in our database and show you the number, and it is not a made up number. It is our number. Some of the things that drive that, well, of course, we have support for EBT. That is a big part of it, and I know that's an important factor for you all. That's with Snap and gift cards. We have, and basically this all for me falls under the personalization umbrella, right? So we have the personalized search results. We have personalized substitutions for out of stocks. We have personalized recommendations. That's while you're shopping. So you're back to your product affinity question, Taryn, you're shopping for pasta and you also want to show sauce. And it's also during checkout. So maybe maybe you also forgot, or here's a promotion you didn't redeem. Are you sure you don't want to add this, right? So all of those recommendations that, again, I know everyone can probably show in terms of an e-commerce storefront, but how intelligent are those recommendations is really where the difference is made. We integrate deeply with your POS. Okay, we can do file-based. We can do a lot of different ways, by the way. Sometimes we start off simple, but we also have API, deep integration capability with the POS. As an example, that gives us maybe not awareness, but we know all transactions, and that gives us some visibility into inventory. So for example, we can pull things automatically off your storefront if we detect that it's out of stock in the store, right? I think that's a pretty nice feature. And then our smart list. So again, everyone has a shopping list that you can save and bring into the store or use it to reshop next week in your e-commerce site. We can actually make recommendations based on all that stuff we talked about earlier, saying, hey, this should probably go in your list. What did you just do? You just added to the list that they're going to start from now week after week, right? Because you made a recommendation. They said, oh, that's a good suggestion. I will go ahead and add that to my list. And now every time they shop, they're starting off with a bigger list than they did before. So this is an example of a client of ours that has just launched catering. And I just wanted to provide it as an example. This is their brand and their product are all very dedicated and fit really well with catering. And I just thought it was a nice look and feel, even if it's very different than what you might run, into how catering and how far it can be taken, and the look and feel of all of this coming to life. It's just one, maybe personally, I just when I see what they're doing with it, it really comes together nicely. So just a couple of things I want to call out. Again, it's all about personalization, but if you look at your browsing categories, your promotions and specials are personalized, just again, as Cody and Kelsey showed, your search results, your checkout. So these are numbers that we're looking at. Again, not saying that this is what you'll get, but we've seen clients achieve up to 10 extra products in their baskets. 20% conversion rate of I'm searching for a product and I actually ended up adding it to my cart, which we can track from a storefront. And ultimately that can add up into 15% in sales. A little bit on the picking side. I think an often underestimated in the evaluation process is how good the picking is. Because think about the storefront's nice, and then a client, you bring them in, they make an order online, and then they get it delivered, and their fruit's not good or something was out of stock. What's the likelihood, no matter how good your shopping experience is, that they're going to order again, right? So the picking experience is so important. The fulfillment experience is so important to the longevity of your e-commerce success. So our picking, we've had up to over 60% reduction in labor costs. I don't expect that for you guys based on what you're doing. I do think there's meat on the bone there to be more efficient than you are now, but that adds up to 3 times more units picked per hour. And some of our key features are the picking path optimization for the store walk, multiple picking methods like single versus batch zone. We have some really sweet dashboards that we're going to show. Our demo site's a little light on the data there, so but we'll find some ways to do that, and the substitutions would be to death. So the other thing I mentioned, so I talked about the subsequent shops, right? So between reducing your cost and encouraging subsequent shops, we can increase with good picking 30% ability of your e-commerce.
All right, so I'm going to take you, so we're going to talk about catering now, and we call it order ahead. So if I lapse into saying order ahead, I mean e-catering. So I thought I'd take you through the front end first, so you can see what the customer sees and how they can use the site. And I'm not going to show you the app, but it's actually a very good experience on the app as well. So it mimics what you see on desktop, but obviously for the form factor of the app. But just for sake of time, we'll just stick with desktop for right now. So as a customer, I go to the website. I'm logged into this specific store here. Just keep in mind that catering is all configurable at the store level. So I'm only seeing, and I'll talk a little bit about this more in just a second, but those services that are available at this particular store. So our website and our app is context driven, meaning that I'm making a list, so I'm seeing an in-store digital experience about shopping in store, making my list. We have your aisle data, building that list by aisle so I can shop the store easily. But I can also change my context to e-com easily by selecting just in the navigation up here that I want grocery pickup. So it gives you that ability to really meet the shopper where they are, the way they're shopping. So right now, again, my context is list. So I'm building my list for an in-store shop. But if I decide I just don't have time to go in store, I can with one click decide to shop that list online. It's going to now change my context to e-commerce. So as you can see, I now have 43 items in my cart. It's no longer a shopping list. I can add all 43 of those items, or I can go in and say, you know what, Budweiser beer is not a good example. My lean ground beef I like to pick myself, or you know, some of the perishables I may want to pick myself. So I can add those 41 items to the cart. It's going to prompt me. And as soon as I say yes, I've now changed fully to e-commerce, and I'm shopping online as opposed to shopping in store. So it's loaded my cart here. It's now showing my balance. I could go into checkout and continue with the checkout process. So I just wanted to mention the context piece of it. How the site switch is based on the experience that the customers wanted to have at that point. That also extends into catering. So same session. I'm now current in a e-commerce contest. I'm shopping the full store for pickup. I also have a grocery delivery option, but I need to pick out, let's say, go back to Charles' example, because I am logged in as Charles. So that's the persona that I'm under. I have a catering party that I want, or a football party that I want to have that weekend. So I can click on catering. I don't have to switch out to another site. I'm not going to a catering site. It's just changing the context for the site and giving me various catering options, charcuterie trays, appetizers, beverages. Again, this is all configurable at the store level, and there's a hierarchy with catering. So you start with the service being catering, and then you have products under catering like charcuterie trays and appetizers and beverages. And then you have options, in terms of how you can build an order, and then you have option sets. And I'll walk you through this. It'll make a little bit more sense. The most simple is just that I have a charcuterie tray. Here are the different products. I can select that one. There are no options. There's only one. I can add it to my list. Or I can add two. I can increment it, and it's changing my cart up here. So this is a different cart. So I have my my charcuterie tray. So you may want to add something else. I'll add one more. Again, just a simple, there's no options. I just add it. I'm done. I'm going to go back. Level. Just for sake of time, I'm now going to jump in. So I've got my catering order. I'm going to jump in because we need a cake for the weekend because it happens to be a birthday cake. We talked about DecoPack, that you license DecoPack. So if you license DecoPack in store, then we can present those and make those part of online. All of the DecoPack themed cakes would be available to order. So I can get a ballerina slipper cake. I have some options here. I can make that a half sheet cake. I can make it a full sheet cake. I could change the flavor. I could change the icing. I'll go with whipped instead of buttercream. I can even pick the color. So that gives you kind of an example of a product with a lot of different options and different option sets. So I'm going to back out of that and just take you to the other option within cakes. And really this applies to any catering product. It's just that cakes are more visual as you build a cake, just like we were doing there. So in this cake, I don't want to select, in this case, I don't want to select from one of the, the pre-formatted or pre-packaged cakes that I can still customize, but I want to create my own cake from scratch. So I'm going to go in here to a custom sheet cake. And I start with a blank sheet cake. So I'm going to make that a full sheet cake. Got a big party this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and, go through the options here. I want to pick the flavor first. Currently it's white. I'm going to change that to chocolate. So in this case, you're seeing that the visual changes as well. So this is a build to order wizard that we have as a feature also. You couldn't see that one because that's fudge on top of chocolate, but if I change it to strawberry preserves, you'll see a little line of strawberry preserves in there. So we've taken it to the every variable is and show a floral scroll. You can actually change the color of it. I can change the borders. So in this case, we'll do a shell border on top. We'll do the bottom border. Do that as a bead.
By the way, I'll use that floral example to segue. Maybe you said it earlier. Imagine you're giving us all the images for all these combinations, so then we can draw time it so it looks just like your cake. If you could do the same for floral, I'm talking to a retailer right now where we're talking about doing both catering and floral all through the same app. If you can give us those pictures, they're saying I want roses and I want this, and I'm looking at the bouquet as I'm building it.
It really applies to any product that you think the visual kind of aspect of it would help. And you can also type your message, say, happy B-Day to me. And then that, we don't have it where it actually shows yet on the cake, but your message is now saved and you can add that to your cart. See all the items in my cart, change that, change my cart value. I can scroll down. All the things I've added. I can add any instructions, notes for my order, and I can go through the checkout process now. So it's going to take me into the store that I placed the order at. I go through the slot process. In this case, they have it hourly increments. It's defaulted already to the first available slot to allow 48 hours for custom cake preparation because it knows I have a custom cake in that order. And as I mentioned, it defaults to the item that has the longest lead time in the order. So if I just had Pizzas and sandwich trays, right? Those may be available immediately, or within 1 hour or whatever it is. You set the lead time and I'll show you that in the back end real quick. So I can select my slot and I can, continue on through and then just confirmation of your orders. So the different payment methods, I can pay online, confirming where I'm picking it up. Order summary, I can see all of that and I can place my order. So I'm not going to do, we've done hot foods. They do boxed lunches, do pizzas, sandwiches. We can do single orders where you use catering for, this store doesn't have it, but in another barbecue that's just for that specific store, and it's called Texas Takeout. So they can order barbecue takeout as well through the app, and that just becomes another service option here, just like catering and custom cake. And then just real quick before I jump into the back end while I'm on the front end, just for sake of time, I just want to give you just kind of a quick summary tour of everything we've talked about in terms of a unified experience for the shopper. So a lot of it does start with this idea of meet the shopper where they are, the way they want to shop. If it's shopping for catering, if it's shopping for gift cards, if it's making a list for in-store, or if it's shopping online, you have that ability. Serving up recommended items to a shopper, serving up recommended items. So these are all of the sale items. In this particular case, they don't show the weekly ad items, but they show all the sale items. We run those through our recommendation algorithm. So they're presented to me based on what's relevant to me, based on my purchase history. And then I can shop, we show the top 5, but I can shop all of the sale items. And since I'm in a list context currently, I'm building my list. So I'm adding these to my list. I'm not adding them to my cart. But even then it's an e-com experience because I have to pick the specific product that I want to add to my shopping list. Now again, I can go to my shopping list at any time, convert that to a cart, and that changes my context, and I'm shopping those. And it's just a one click down here. I'm shopping those online, or I can always go back here. We show the most frequently purchased items as a default for that particular store that you shop at. So it has some localization to it. And then as we accumulate history on you, then it'll start to personalize. When we have enough, it'll no longer go to the default, it'll go to your own personalized information. These are all of my targeted deals. So we show the top 5, and there's logic around how these get presented. So you remember our persona of Charles? So I had recommended items in Cody's email that he showed you of potato sticks and Jack's Gourmet. Those are the first 2 items that I see when I go onto the website. So when we personalize in one channel, we're not just personalizing in an email, the personalization is happening within the platform. And then depending on which channel you're engaging with, you're seeing that same consistent personalization. So I know this experience is really relevant to me no matter where I go. These are all offers that they've created in our backend tool. We really didn't go into targeted offers just for sake of time. We could do that another time if you have questions on it. But all of these are I've qualified for. You're going to have a different list, each one of you, based on your shopping history, based on your shopping behavior. If you qualify for lapsed, lost, all those different programs. When you click those, you're adding those items to your loyalty account, those offers to your loyalty account and to your shopping list. And you would see here all of those clip to your rewards account, which is the other point of integration. So we have context-based shopping, we have offers, we have recommendations, and then you have your rewards dashboard here. You have your purchase history as well on your rewards dashboard. So I can go back and see all of my transactional history online and in store. Texas Takeout orders from that other store. And I can click on any of these and I can reorder those. So I could even click on an in-store purchase. It's not available this time. That was a bad example. But I could click on any of these and I can repurchase them for in-store or online. It'll bring it up and I can reorder it the way I want to shop at that particular moment, even though I'm looking at a transaction from an in-store transaction. It gives you a lot of different flexibility there to try to make it as easy as possible to shop. Last thing I'll show, just because we talked about Message Center. Here's the message inbox here. So real quick on the back end of catering. So I'm going into Workbench. So everything you've seen so far, you go into Workbench for the back end, everything from your customer profiles to your reporting to the e-marketing, the CMS and widgets. I'm going into commerce. I'm gonna pick catering and cakes. I have a dashboard where I can look at overall for all stores currently. I could pick a specific store, but I'm just looking at all stores, what our total sales are, total orders, average order, discounts, total tax. I get some graphic breakdowns of that. I can look at total orders. And I can see the revenue summary. So if this is for a specific day of the week, what our revenue was, the quantity was, the freight, tax, it breaks it all down. How many orders are completed? How many orders are being prepared still? So this kind of gives you a quick snapshot of that. And then you can see the order revenue details below. So you can see these orders are new, these are being prepared currently. And you can click on any of those orders and open up. I have super admin rights, so I can see everything. But if I were at a store level, I might just see that one store's orders. And then if you want to drill into a store, and if you want to look at specific date ranges, you have that ability as well. Texas Takeout is another, that's where they're doing the barbecue and the pizza. This particular store, I can create a landing page. I can change the hours. I can select what services are offered. If it's catering and cakes, if it's holiday dinners, I can turn it off and on for that store. I can manage my time slots here for that particular store based on whatever service. So I can have a different time slot for a different service. Set my order notification. Just going to try to show you, we can do blackout dates. We can do lead times around that. All that's fully configurable. So you can go in and see all of these products are published currently. That's their status. If I want to edit that, I can go in here. I can unpublish it. And we have unpublish, which removes the product. It'll still show the product, but it grays it out where you can't select it. So an example of that is if you don't want to take an item all the way out, you want to gray it out because maybe an ingredient you're out of. You can set it so it'll still show it, but they can order it.
Yeah, so basically I've logged on to the website. Now I'll do some shopping. I can search, I can just use the categories, which is basically search. I think we've already mentioned all the personalization. I'll just mention it one more time. As soon as we know who the customer is, we can then refine the search for that customer vectors. So when I search for milk, I'll get milk A. When you search for milk, get milk B or almond milk, just because that's what is in interests you.
Mentioned shop by diet.
Yeah, so not going into that again, just go to dairy, let's get some fresh eggs. Okay, so again, this is the demo set, so you can see under eggs there's cut types. So this is additional customization. Let's say those were cold cuts, then I could go with thick, thin, very thin, or whatever. So I'll just give you something. Let's add. And if any of you have any questions, just stop and let me know. So I'm directly adding milk here because it doesn't require any additional information. You can see here, we have the EBT snack icon. You see that one? So it means this is a eligible item. We get that information from your systems, of course, the government, to make sure everything is up and running. They need to test everything. They're a retailer. We have a very, very good relationship with them. So there are buns, sausages. Oh, sorry. You can search by brand. You can search by keyword, by partial name. It's really heuristic search. You can search for cream. Cheese. Those. I think we have quite enough. Checkout. Oh, by the way, that's important. As you can see, the cart calculation is done in real time. So if you have any promotions, oh, by the way, you can see out of stock here. Being, oh, you don't see my mouse. So, green, green, got a stock icon. You got out of stock prompts, and this checkout price, even before you check out, is calculated in real time. So, and by real time, I mean every time you add, subtract, if you add a coupon, everything you would do. And it would even prompt you if there's a special discount, a special cart discount. So add NAB and add A and B, you'll get C for 50% discount. Then you would be able to see that. And that's part of how we make people shop more. You'll get those prompts, hey, you just bought 2, if you buy 3, you'll get it for 3 or whatever, I don't know, a discount. Or if you buy A and B, you'll be eligible to get C for a 20% discount. And then it will show you all the numbers. So those are basket or cart calculations. And whatever we can show you on the actual catalog, we call them like simple discounts that are, we can calculate without actually looking at a cart. Yeah. So we'll prompt there or show you there, or everything will be going on over there. So now, of course, just before checkout, you get those weird recommendations for you. So those are personalized. You can, of course, manage those. If there are specific items you'd like to push, that's usually what's here, or even more than personalized items. Okay, so I'll proceed. By the way, my number is here, so the moment I finish this order, I'll get notified and you'll be able to see it. When you finish your shopping experience, when picking starts, so there's no option for you to go ahead and edit your order anymore. Yeah, configurable. When picking is done, when it's being shipped to you, and when you work with a shipping partner, with a delivery provider, then usually they also add additional options to that. We provide them with all the information using API, so it's tight integration. They know everything they need to know. To Charlie's earlier point of the order.
By the way, if any of you did go to that site and log in, if you had made your own order, checked out, put in your number here, it would allow you to see the notifications you get as a shopper. And as we pick them, we could do a substitution and you get the notification as a substitution. So we have it set up here that you could, see the whole experience, right? Which is why we went to this demo site. So
actually decide whether it's going to be text message, call me, just allow, hey, whatever, I trust you, or I don't trust you. So with replacements, sometimes you need to pay a little bit more. So the way it works e-commerce is that surcharge. But so let's say I want to pay $20, okay, with EBT. In that case, there basically will be no surcharge whatsoever. The rest will be paid with my credit card. But if I'll take $60 of my EBT card, then that includes a surcharge. Okay. I will not check for balance, but I will need to check it later. It will run automatically. Of course, this is not a real credit card, so I'll just do CVP one. Order. Now I have to authorize my EBT again, regulation.
this is cool. It mixes up all the numbers.
Usually, so this is, by the way, the picking solution back office. The picking solution is a standard solution, microservices, databases, and back office, and of course, front end is an app you install on Android devices. A lot of our customers use Libra, but you don't have to necessarily do that. It could work tablets, if you like that, or on those hardened devices. Usually recommend getting devices with barcode scanner, just makes everything way easier, especially when you want to move those speakers as fast as possible. Speaking labor gets expensive when you scale. And we support a lot of modes. And by that, I mean, we actually know how to help you scale, right? When you start, you have just 3, 4, 5, 6 speakers working together. So that's single pick. Even when you get to 30 or 30, you can just keep using single picking mode, and that's more than fine. But then you start running into issues. So you may want to look into batch picking, zone picking. We even support MFCs. So if you want to, if you like really getting big, you want to integrate a robotic warehouse that deals with a lot of the work for you. And those are, of course, one and very expensive. That's an investment, but they're very cost effective, like for long term. So again, not going into all of that definitely part of the implementation phase, teaching you how to use the back office and all the different options and all of that, just show you everything in general. But of course, before I actually go into picking, employee management, of course, there are roles, a lot of them that's customizable. When there's zone picking, you can define those zones and play around with them. There are collector reports. Usually collector get bonuses based on performance, and we do take care of that. You'll see that on those. Again, not going into all of those configurations, but you may or may not want your pickers to know your customer name or address or phone number or whatever. So it's all configurable. Manually typing barcodes allowed or not. Is scanning mandatory? Let's say I want to pick an item. Do I have to scan it, or can I just mark it as I've got it off the shelf? So that's configurable. Again, depends on the policies. Labels, I think we talked about that a little bit yesterday. So I'll show you how we print labels with barcodes and sections and different codes. You have a delivery partner that can support that. We have tight API integration, so we provide them with the barcodes. And of course, batch picking, which I really hope you'll get to one day. It's pretty amazing, but for when you scale up. So a lot of alerts. So when there's managerial approval that's required. Simple example, let's say I replace 60% of the items. That's weird, right? Or 60% of the items are missing. That's weird. So